Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. Bitcoin is still slowly rising above 68,000. It seems more and more likely that Bitcoin wants to go up to this area between 70 and 72,000. Once more, a great hit of this trend line down here, smashed it, and then the price just shot up. On this chart, you can see that there was a small tail that was going down. You even got a 50% retrace here, and then it was up, and away if you know your bottoming tails and good turnaround signals. But this is Bitcoin's first big test. It will happen between 70 and 72,000. Today, let's look at some of the most important people. It's up 138 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This morning, the Nasdaq was the big winner. 300-point gain, 300-point gain. That's an increase of 1.7%. At 59 points and above, the SP is up 1%. And oil is going down a little today. Gold is going down a little today. And Bitcoin is still up some, trading at around 68,250. It's as clear as day on the heat map, right? The big green is where? 4.6% for Nvidia. Okay, Microsoft, Google, and Meta are here. Well, these are the big ones. Remember that this was the red zone last week? There was a lot of green in this big red area. It's a lot more mixed up now. It's true that there is a fair amount of green here, but there is a little more red. Even though there is a general recovery, the big cap tech names are still in the lead. The fee. Okay, let's talk about a few things before we look at some maps. Take a look at the SP during the day. It's very quiet today. Then why is it quiet today? First, there's a lot of important business news coming up this week, i.e. the PCE inflation figures will be out on Friday. By the way, the Federal Reserve meets next week and will also report on interest rates. This week, we also have megacap profit tech. Uber and Tesla are coming out tomorrow after the bell, as well as Google and Alphabet. NXPI Semiconductor is coming out today after the bell, which is also very important. Okay, so the SP 500 has been going up and down a lot today. You can see how it went up, down, when you look at this chop early in the day. That's because some of your weak hands from last week are still a little shaky. Since there were sellers, they sold into it. People who wanted to buy came in and sold. After that was taken care of, and those sellers left. After that, it stayed in a rising trend for the rest of the day. Again, it was a pretty normal day. Volume was very, very low today because, as we said, there weren't many earnings. We didn't get the best numbers from Verizon this morning, but we did get some. Verizon doesn't move around much. The market isn't changing much because Verizon did well or poorly. Okay, let's look at a couple of charts before we talk about earnings. First, let us take a look at the SP 500. I've shown you guys this chart many times if you looked. We have this route that is as clear as day. Also, we were right at the low end on Friday, so it made sense that we would get a bounce there. You can see it a little better if I zoom in on this. As you can see, we went straight to the low end, and there's your little bounce. I think there may be a little more upside, but the middle point, this dotted line, I'm not sure if you can see it. That will be a lot of pressure right there on the chart. Bitcoin's price could fall as people take profits, even though institutional buyers have been buying a lot and recent ETF entries have topped $500 million. The Nvidia chart is very interesting, so I'm going to show it to you. So let's look at NVDA. Nvidia has had a great day today, going up about 5%, or just under 5%. As a chart expert, one thing I know for sure is that once this key trend line turns into resistance, what I call the scene of the crime retrace is what happens a lot of the time. Now that you have the split, look at how the price is pulled back in. There are a few things you have. First, there's a space to fill right now. That will be pushback. You also have that trend line that goes up. Also, it's interesting to note that this low point to this all-time high point is also a Fibonacci 382 return range. This means that there is a 3x factor right there, which will be a big obstacle. I think that price will be drawn back in here over the next few days, but it will probably be refused there. This will likely start another leg lower that will eventually take us down to these trend lines in this zone, between $105 and $95. A lot of help with technical issues with Nvidia. Gold prices haven't changed much today, they're only slightly lower. Again, I think there is an upward trend line around 23.75 and 23.70 based on the bounce. It looks like it's going that way. If we look at this map, you can see that there are also these little pivot points right there, right? So up here, and all of that fits right into this zone here. That means that price is going down. On the gold market, we'll check to see if it can get a bounce and start to break up. On the same note, silver went down a bit more at first, but has since come back up. When we zoom in on that, we can see that it did touch this lower white trend line. This has been the low point from right here to right here. Once more, the big question is, and this is very important for silver, because if it can't hold this level, it will fall all the way to around $26. This is a very important level. A downsloping channel returned to the crime scene and this white trend line coming through. If you're bullish on silver, you need to see this. If it goes down here, it's probably going to go down into the 26 zone.